All right, so welcome to, as we like to call it, Team Tabaka, where the children come on in and they get to become Tabakians. I don't know, it just felt right at the time. So welcome to this class, Team Tabaka, where we get welcomed a lot.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Curriculum Night for those we haven't had an opportunity to see. At this time, I would like to please have our 3rd through 5th grade families start making your way to your teacher's classroom. Our teachers are super excited to have that time with you. So all 3rd through 5th grade students and their families, please make your way to your classroom. Your teachers are waiting for you. K through pre-K through 2nd grade families. Our special area teachers are still in the hallway saying hello. So if you'd like to say hello, join us. 3 through 5, make your way to your teachers.
All right, so we'll get started. A few more will come on in, but so welcome to my class. I'm so excited that your kids are here. An amazing group of kids. I can't tell you how many laughters we have had every single day in this classroom already. So a few things about me. Number one, I am that nerdy over-the-top teacher who likes to do fun technology things. My favorite book is Song for a Whale, one of the books I absolutely love reading with the kids. It's hard to really tell what that looks like. Favorite food, chocolate, and honestly, I'm not biased against food. I love it all. One of my absolute loves, like if I am not teaching or with my kids playing all the games that they like to play, I'm DIYing. I love to make. I love to create. I love to work with tools. I love to build. I love to design. So that's one of my biggest passions that I've done pretty much all of my life. And one of the biggest things I'm really excited about is watching this class really come together even more and grow as learners, grow as 3rd graders, and grow together as a Team Tabaka family. A little bit more about me. Here is a picture of my family. You all know how crazy it gets with your kids. This picture is 2 years old, so they've grown a little bit since then. I'm like, I have no recent ones of me in it with them. So here's my family. This is the boy next door, basically, my husband Josh. So we grew up next to each other ever since I was in 1st grade. And we have our 3 amazing kids. We have Abby, who is still so weird to me that she is in 3rd grade. So I'm trying to get over this, that I teach 3rd grade, and now I have a 3rd grader, so I can empathize even more with all of you about 3rd grade. And then I have twins who are in 1st grade. So this is Alex, and this is Andrea, and we have a dog, Mackie. So that's my family. So a little bit more about me. I've been teaching for 16 years. I still can't even believe that that's the number that I'm at anymore these days. Through those 16 years, I have taught Spanish. I have taught Title I math. I've done 3rd grade the bulk of that time, honestly. And I did do 5th grade for a little bit until I came back down to 3rd because they needed another teacher. And this is my passion place to be in 3rd grade. It's just that perfect sweet spot of a grade. Again, been married to my husband for 15 years. I'm from Michigan, been here my entire life. The only time I moved away was to move to Mexico to study Spanish. Other than that, Michigan, born, raised, and will never, ever leave for the rest of my life. Avid DIYer. I learned all those skills from my dad growing up. I love to do it. And I'm also extremely passionate about educational technology. That would be my master's in educational media and technology. So I love to find new ways to use it, not as in a, cool, here's a new website for you guys to get on and just throw random meaningless screen time your way, but something that really brings alive our education even more to make our experience in the classroom and with each other more meaningful, plus more collaborative. So those are a lot of the different things that I like to do. For the curriculum, I'll go over it pretty fast unless anybody has specific questions about it. Because here's the thing that I've learned about teaching 3rd grade for a ton of time. I am now a full expert on the curriculum. I can talk to you until I'm blue in the face about every little thing that we did, we're going to do, the standards, how they all align. And what I've also learned as a parent is I don't remember all of that really fast. There's plenty of places to go, and I get an entire year as a parent to learn it. So we'll be in this together all year. I'll keep you updated in my newsletters I've been sending out. So if I go over it really fast and there's something more in that particular subject you want to know, just tell me. I can slow down and I can go into a little bit more detail, but usually I just give a quick skim code of the curriculum and then get in more of the nitty gritty about what's specific to our classroom this year. So for reading, we do the MESA units, which is these units that have been specifically designed and tested by a bunch of teachers as well to see what really works. So we do these ones with reading where we, like right now, we're working on launching really strong reading habits of what amazing and quality readers do and how to help bring that one alive. While this is all going on too, I'm individually meeting with students to learn who they are and setting individual class goals for each one of them to become even better as a reader. And then we'll get into things like understanding characters, understanding informational reading, and also understanding the structure and the different types of poetry. So again, these types of things will go throughout the entire year, and sometimes we'll spiral around since there's times where I need to use both fiction and nonfiction pieces in my reading during the certain content that I am going to be teaching. For writing, we do writing every single day, but we focus on some of our bigger writing projects. Right now, we are launching our whole writing workshop first, just to understand the basics of it. But after that, we will get into true stories with writing a personal narrative. Our first one we're going to be starting here soon, which is a big ouch story of a time they got drastically hurt. Even sometimes it's not. The kids really learn how to take a tiny little cut into being this horrible blood experience, you know, something where they throw a whole lot of words into it, and after you read it and you're like, I didn't realize it was that bad, so sorry, but it really wasn't. The other thing we do is we do a few different persuasive writing pieces where the kids have to try and persuade or get somebody else to think differently, change their mind. Usually around Thanksgiving, I introduce a simple, small little one. Like you'll hear them talking about the epic pig and turkey battle, about who should get eaten for Thanksgiving, one, the other, both, or none. And the kids pretend who they are, and they actually get up here and we full battle debate it. It's wonderful. And I never know how the outcome's going to go. So we also do informational writing where the kids actually get to choose a topic that they are strongly passionate about, that they can talk forever about till they're black and blue in the face, and they will get these pieces like written to their big passions. We will also have some poetry, information, and informational writing pieces. I guess one of the biggest things for my writing that I like to do is not only focus on these writing pieces, but I like to teach the kids about student choice and student voice. So often as kids, they're used to just writing it, and it goes as far as my teacher. Like, I'm writing it because you told me to write it. I always try, and this is where I pull in my technology. I try and integrate a new piece of technology and give the students a choice of how they want to publish it, which then ultimately gets shared with parents. And generally throughout the year, we have at least one, maybe two huge author celebrations where we've been doing them through Zoom links, where parents get to come on in and go into all the different rooms to go hear their child read their actual writing and be a part of it. Zoom, that's been one of the big positive things about it. Never thought I would say there's good qualities to Zoom and wanted it gone for the rest of my life, but I'm not too sad by it all. Math, we're still using everyday math curriculum, our big spiraling curriculum. Big concepts are like using math tools, telling time, elapsed time, getting into number stories. Those are a huge thing. And understanding what operation we're doing, adding, subtracting, dividing, multiplying. And then we start to get into, towards the end of the year, compacting all of those together to being like, oh, well, first order of operations, you have to add here because this is in parentheses, and then you have to multiply and do outside of the parentheses or anything like that. So it does start to advance pretty fast. And I'm going to tell you, you'll probably see a few different methods come home. If you don't have older kids already, you're going to see some methods come home and you're going to be like, what in the world is Mr. Baca teaching my child? No. That's not how we add. No. That's not how we multiply. But one of the biggest things I've learned is that, honestly, even if you teach them the traditional skills at home, that's also 100% fine. Because then they come back to me and be like, well, my mom and dad taught me. I was like, great, and now you can do it. see, look how that worked. Like sometimes it's that reverse psychology piece, right? Usually if a parent teaches you and then they're like, I'm listening to my teacher, the opposite is true sometimes here. So lots of big things that we will be doing with math, and just getting those different skills on how and why things work in math. For science, we have a ton of different science units. Right now, we're currently doing our PLTW unit. We will be doing 2 different units with her, stability and motion and forces and interaction. So we're doing this right now up until November 3rd, somewhere around there. We'll do both of those models together, tons of hands-on stuff, tons of explorations. Kids have a blast, and usually they make a ton of videos to post for all of you to be able to see the entire process as well. After that, we have the units that I teach on science, which is our mystery science unit. These ones are a ton of videos, as well as the kids actually do some hands-on explorations. Like when we go and study wild and wacky weather, the kids actually have to try and build a house that would sustain hurricane force weather. And when I say hurricane force weather, it means I'm usually blowing on it, and that's the hurricane. But with COVID, I take a fan and I go like this really, really hard. So they get to do a lot of fun things, including things like trying to see if they can outrun a dinosaur, if a dinosaur was actually alive today. So a ton of different science things that we get to really pull on in that make the kids even more alive with it. And I guess my last favorite one for science is they get to understand how pollinators actually work, where they actually get to build little flower models and put, cinnamon in some and another spice and then another one, and they make little bees with pipe cleaners and they go around to each other's flowers and see how cross-pollination really works. So tons of hands-on. I've never in my life before had kids be like, science is my favorite. I was like, what about gym? No, science. Like, that's a pretty big one for me there. Social studies, we have a ton of Michigan history that we learned more so from basically the existence of Michigan and the very first Native Americans that come on over, to all of the different changes that our Michigan history has been through. And we also look at all the different perspectives of the different people that were around here and why things happened or how things happened. So we look at the geography of Michigan, we look at the history all the way to becoming a statehood, and then we break it down into economics and our civics and government units, where we look at different problems, especially in our civics and government unit. We look at water pollution and the different levels of our government of how we can actually make an impact to try and tell them, hey, this needs to stop, this isn't okay, and how we as young citizens can even make a huge impact out there in the world. Oh, that was curriculum. Any questions on that part so far? Let me breathe for a second. That one is looking at the landforms of Michigan. So we look at what is a lake, what is a peninsula, how we're into different regions of Michigan and broken down into, and then mountain ranges. So it's just looking at the basic landforms more so in Michigan, as well as comparing native landform, or like things that were created by nature to things that were created by humans. So, all right, so homework. I know this is one I still get a lot of questions on. Almost every Monday, I send home a homework packet, 4 homework pages in the packet. Now, again, this one is really just meant as parent to school communication, because there's so many different things that happen here at school, and there's so many different methods that are learned here at school. During the day, we work our butts off trying to learn and understand all of these different concepts. Like, there's almost not a moment where we're just sitting here not doing anything with it. So as far as taking it home, I've done a ton of research on it all to see, like, that homework that I sent home, whether they do it or not, isn't going to make or break that student. While there is still great practice and great value behind it, if they have it, it doesn't make them that better student. If they don't have it, it doesn't make them that better student. Because ultimately, if they need that help, I've always been here to help them. So what I do for these ones, like, if you do it, great. If you don't have time to do it, because they also have so much else going on in life. There's family events going on. There's, I know parents all have crazy work schedules, and I just want to sit and have a moment to be as a family with my child. Like, I get and understand all that. So if it doesn't come back, that's okay. I don't collect them. I don't check them. There's no positive reward for turning them in. There's no negative reward for turning them in. There's no dialogue other than turn back in your homework folder, but I don't ever be like, hey, it's not done, it's not finished, or it's not here. So there's never a consequence for homework being done or not done. So like I said, it's the biggest part is just so you can see what we're doing and what the language is surrounding it. The other one is, it's always an awesome idea to read 20 minutes if they can, with somebody, to a dog, to a stuffed animal, to themselves, staring at a book, whatever. There's always some amazing things behind that to just help improve the value of the reading at home. The other big policy I have is for birthdays. So our school has adopted school-wide a no treat policy for anything. So we don't even do it for any classroom celebrations at all. The only food we have now is the food that they bring to school themselves or served in the lunchroom. So we don't have treats. So one thing I've done is I've allowed other ideas. So if the student still wants to celebrate them somehow, they can do a donation, like either a class game and make a big deal, and we can write their name on it, just being like donated for the birthday of, and their names on it permanently. Recess equipment, school supplies. I can let them teach a lesson if they're like, I want to teach a Pokemon card or something that they're really passionate about, and they want to get up here and take over. I will give them 15 minutes to be able to teach the class a skill, a talent, a drawing, or share something of, just to give them that really cool spotlight time as well. Or if any of these never sound good to the students, I always say, in your name and honor, I will give you extra recess time, which also is a big win as well for kids. The only thing I do ask, though, for like sending in things, none of the small trinkets or toys, because usually those end up getting lost, taken, broken. And when I say taken, usually time I mean by me. I'm not going to land that one. So these ones have always added to a little bit more of a chaotic type of day and extra sadness versus going this route. There's been wins pretty much every single time. They have birthdays on weekends or on a break or even in the summertime. We can throw them a random day anyways for their birthday that they can pick and they can choose, so they can still be a part of the school fun. As far as class goes, like some things that are specific to my class, again, don't mind the nerdy teacher right there. It looks like fun at the moment. We do a variety of different class reward systems. So I like to celebrate us as individuals, as groups, and as wholes on so many different levels. So one thing I have is I do have our house system, which are these 3 shields, which are kept over there. The kids got to spin and find out what house they were going to be introduced into the very first day of school, just kind of like a Harry Potter sorting hat. With this, each group kind of works to check in on each other to see what can we do to support each other to be the best group that we can possibly be. Sometimes it's agreeing, hey, let's sit by each other so we can help each other. Or, hey, I'm not sitting by you, but let me just kind of walk over and just kind of check on you to see how it's going. Sometimes it might be like, why don't you stand with me in line so that way we can help each other do what we need to do and stop any of the extra talking. So they'll all start to set goals with each other to help. I keep track through class dojo points, just to kind of earn those house points. At the end of the month, we have a big house celebration for whichever house has the most points, and they get to choose an activity during lunchtime to do in the classroom with me or whatever it is that they might choose. So that's this one. The next one is our Pop-It points. So we have 400, I think they said 441 points to earn here. The kids calculated it. What we do is every morning we have a class meeting and we again talk about a goal. As a class, what can we do to better ourselves? Their job, and this is so hard for me, I have to walk away and be like, you all have the floor. I'm not allowed to do anything. And I have to step away and not take control so that way they can try to figure out and manage this total and utter chaos. Sometimes that happens on the carpet. But in the end, they have to decide on a class goal all together and get one person to take the marker and write it up there. Eventually, we'll get into a timer where I time them and then we reset it if there's any issues. So what we do is every time I see them working on this, I come up and I can give them Pop-It points. We'll usually start to work towards some big reward, such as a silent day. And no, it's not where the kids are silent all day. It's actually where I have to be silent the entire day. And even wear a sign to say, my kids are so awesome, I can't talk. They even run the class. So it's one of those where they like know the ins and outs of the class, how it works, how I function, everything, where I can literally just post my lessons for each of them to do, and they know what to do, and they know how to run the class. And again, the entire time I'm here, no talking unless it's an emergency. Another big reward that they can earn throughout the year is a yes day, just like the movie is, except whatever school rules apply still apply to a yes day. But they get to come up with a list of things that they dream of doing while they are at school. And then I have to say yes to as many of those as possible. And the entire day is dedicated to doing those activities. Sometimes it's turn off the lights and read. Yes. The last one is our connect shots. So this one, like I said, is related just specifically to the goal. So I just focus on the goal. This one is related to working individually and those small groups. This last one is related to the entire class. So our Connect 4 shot sits up here as the whole entire group, not related to that goal, is doing awesome and really showcasing that extra positivity or eliminating time and transitions or whatever. I throw yellow Connect 4 balls. If I have to give extra reminders, I throw red. So if we connect 4 yellows, we get to have some type of extra small reward that day. Again, sometimes it might be like I give 2 extra minutes of recess or an extra podcast thrown in for the day, or something small to just celebrate and being like, yes. They also get to earn extra balls when they get 5 or 6 stars in a specials class. And I've never had this happen before. I had to start creating a brag board for my class because they have created so many different 5 to 6, mostly 6 stars. That's how amazing this class is. 5 is the max, 6 is a bonus, and my class is that extra credit. So they are doing amazing. So I think those are the big things about class. But before you go, make sure, first this was just make sure you sign up for parent-teacher conferences. Most of you did amazing and awesome at that. The only small piece, and I hate to say this right now, I have to change up some of the dates. October 14th, and I haven't even told the class yet, so some of them will know. I do have to go out for a little bit for 2 weeks for a minor procedure. So I'll be out for 2 weeks. So I have to go back in there and make sure any of the conferences that were scheduled during that period of time, I think there was one of the days, I'm going to move that to in the beginning of November. So I will delete that day, fix the day, and resend it all out. The other thing too is if you need a day, you don't have a time, I am free before school. It is Zoom. We have more flexibility as well to be able to do things. So, but I'll get that fixed and I'll get that sent out. Any questions? Yes.
Will there be spelling bees?
No, we don't have spelling bees. Our spelling curriculum that we do, I guess I didn't put that one in there, is Words Their Way, which we start after PLTW. And with Words Their Way, the kids take a spelling test to find their placement. And just like everything else with reading, with our reading groups and such, they're placed on lists that are more specific to their level or certain skills that they need to learn. And it's not just for like specific spelling, but it's also looking at like the different patterns within multiple type of words to see and recognize those patterns. So then they'll be put on individual lists. And then those lists will come home as well in their mailboxes once they get assigned each of their lists. So that's a fantastic question. Of course, they're all fantastic, right? Any others? Okay. I think you've all been seeing my emails. Well, I hope you've been seeing my emails. I try and send out just a weekly one to say, hey, newsletter is updated. It's a running one. So it's the same link every single time. It is housed in Schoology. Technically, I'm supposed to cut out everything, most of my other communication and just house it in Schoology. But I know for me as a parent, I don't even do that for my own children. I like the email better. So it is in Schoology. It is on my website. I will try and keep emailing it too weekly, but it's all right on there too. So awesome. No wonder my class is so awesome. You guys are so making this too easy for me. All right, well, if you didn't get your student's 3rd grade or your child's 3rd grade work, it is all up here. This is our brag wall up here. You can find your child's number over here, what they're in the class. And then these are my magnetic strips, so you can open them up, and steal your child's book and you can take it home. So, all right. Well, thank you. I'm here if anybody has questions. And I will stop this now.